Kamook heads! Today, we are doing another one of those Wattpad-like story readings. We're going to be covering this guy named SilentSword1010. And he wrote this series called the Paragon Cinematic Universe, the PCU for short. It's the next big thing. I mean, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, Silent Sword has seemed to put a lot of effort into it. I checked all the chapters, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens of content. So yeah, I think we're gonna read the first 3 chapters of the first book, and let's just see how it goes. Please like and subscribe and comment if you like it, or if you like this series, and have a good one. Time, 2003. It was a completely normal day at Mercury Heights Middle School, or at least it should have been. All the teacher was doing was calling roll. It shouldn't have went as badly as it did. Gilbert Gatsby?
Here.
Penny LaFontaine?
Here.
William Hanford?
Here.
Duncan Drevis? Here, the young boy said cheerfully. He had been placed in the gifted class for showing immense capabilities across all of his subjects. But he was fascinated with chemistry most of all, being able to make magical substances that could cure illnesses or otherwise change the physical state of a human being enraptured him. Just then, loud gunshots rang across the hall to the school. Remaining calm, Drevis's teacher directed all the students to huddle together behind the desk as she turned the lights off and locked the door. It took ages for the police to respond to the scene, and even longer for them to actually reach the establishment. At one point, the culprit reached the classroom door and attempted to open it, seemingly leaving of their own volition once it occurred to them that the door was locked. However, after a few seconds, they returned with a partner. Drevis saw his classmates and his teachers collapse to the ground within a matter of seconds, the impact being drowned out by the sound of shots being fired. Just as the 2 gunmen were about to finish him off, 2 police officers finally arrived on the scene and shot the suspect, dead in the nick of time. The officers escorted Drevis out of the building while the rest of the team secured the area. After he saw the destruction that the gunman had caused, tears of sorrow flowed down his cheeks. He saw his classmates' parents and loved ones weeping after realizing that their children had been taken too soon, and the hysteria of bystanders attempting to breach the crime scene. His thoughts immediately turned to the policeman who had saved him. He did not have gratitude in his heart for them. Oh no, he had anger, rage, frustration. If they had responded faster, the gunmen might have been less successful in their assault. Fewer, or even no casualties may have resulted. He wouldn't have had to witness the harrowing sight of his friends slaughtered firsthand. Perhaps their delayed response was because they were afraid to confront the gunmen, despite that being their primary objective in situations like these, afraid that they would get wounded or lose their lives in the process, afraid of what would happen if they would fail in subduing the suspects. This incident led him to believe that fear is a completely unnatural part of a human being. All it does is make them hesitate to do things that they would have done efficiently otherwise. All it does is hold them back, disabling them from functioning as they normally should, potentially resulting in innocent people dying. His fist clenched in anger as he made an internal vow right then and there to solve this problem. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday he would help humanity overcome fear. 2018. A swift, agile figure swung gracefully from building to building, her grappling hook allowing her to move effortlessly between structures. She scanned the area for anything unusual, then stopped on one of the rooftops to get a better view. The cold night's breeze blew through her long, straight, dirty blonde hair, and a black domino mask neatly outlined her eyes. She wore 2 gauntlets, one on each hand. The right contained the grappling hook, which she used to get around quickly, while the left could extend and retract a special blade that she used to subdue criminals. Green and black were her colors of choice. She wore a green, fitting, midriff exposing, short-sleeved top with a black V emblem on the front, as well as a black utility belt attached to her dark green combat shorts, which came with straps and 2 holsters for her dual pistols. Finally, she wore a pair of boots, which were a similar color, and her right wrist held a special high-tech watch that was connected to the Viper hotline, a phone number akin to 911, used to receive emergency calls and alerts from the citizens. It was this watch that allowed Viper to change in and out of uniform, near instantly at the push of a button. Although Viper had valiantly protected the city's denizens for several months at this point, people's opinion on her were divided. Some said she was an irrepressible force of good, and that she made the police department's job easier, while adding that they could sleep better at night, knowing that an additional pair of eyes were keeping tabs on their city. Her detractors, however, pointed out that she was technically operating illegally, and refused to trust her because she was not like the others. They believed that it would be better if she stepped away and allowed the justice system to proceed as normal. Their words hurt, but the Viper learned to ignore them with time. Nice night, she thought. Things are a bit quiet, though. Just then, her watch beeped urgently. She checked the notification and discovered that a group of 3 vandals were defacing a nearby church with spray paint. She recognized it as the church that she herself attended and volunteered at regularly by day, which alarmed her even more and made it slightly personal. The troublemaking trio were tagging the side of the church wall when the Viper touched down in a 3-point landing mere feet away from them. "Hello, boys," she greeted them as she scanned the wall. "Great art. You know that's illegal, right?" One of the vandals spoke up. "Isn't what you're doing illegal too?" he asked. The Viper paused for a moment, then shook her head. "That's not the hot issue at the moment." She then pulled out her dual pistols and aimed them at the group. "Now are you going to go quietly, or are we going to have to do this the hard way?" Unwilling to surrender, the 3 vandals got in a fighting stance. Just then, the Viper changed her mind. "You know what? You guys are unarmed. It wouldn't be fair that way." She put the pistols away. "Who wants to have the first blow? What about you?" she asked, pointing to the vandal who initially challenged her activities. The boy walked threateningly towards her and attempted to sell her a right hook, but to his surprise, the Viper quickly dodged at an incredibly fast speed, leaving after images. "Wait, what?" he said, confused. The Viper chuckled. "Try again." He attempted to throw a few straights, but the Viper would dodge and weave left or right every time. Eventually, he thought he had wised up to her movement patterns, and attempted to make her dodge one way before hitting her with a punch that came from the same direction. However, the Viper caught his punch mid-swing, much to his shock. She smiled. "My turn." She then hit him with a punch to the stomach, then to the face before extending the blade on her right hand and touching its tip to his body, injecting poison into his system. Much to his friend's horror, the body began twitching and convulsing violently while foaming at the mouth, before collapsing on the ground in a heap, with his jerky movements not stopping until several seconds later, leaving him completely motionless. The remaining 2 vandals were so shocked at what had happened to their leader that they didn't bother to dodge the 2 electrical traps that the Viper had thrown down at them to keep them restrained. With all 3 suspects subdued, the Viper wrote a note for the police detailing who they were, what they were doing, and what she had done to stop them, before contacting 911. When the police team arrived, they found 3 graffiti artists lying on the ground. 2 of them were bound by the Viper's electric traps, and the third was recovering from the effect of her poison. The lead officer walked up to the vandals and picked up a note that was sitting in front of them. "Well, well, well. It seems the Viper caught 3 more," the lead officer remarked. The team then officially arrested the suspects before driving away. In the other patrol car, a third officer was gushing about the Viper to his partner. "If you ask me," he said, "our alliance with her might just be the best thing that happened to this organization, don't you think?" "Yes, definitely," the 4th officer said cheerfully, taking another bite of his donut. "She's quite the valuable asset. In fact, I can't even think of a crime she hasn't brought to a screeching halt. Could you imagine what would happen if some particularly dangerous villain showed up and attempted to pull off some large-scale evil plot? Something more than simple robbery or vandalism?" the 3rd officer asked. "We would be in real trouble then." The 4th officer took a sip of his soda. "You're speaking fictitiously, Junior," he responded. "There hasn't been any really important bad guys around for us as long as I can remember. But even if one does pop up, I'm sure the Viper could handle it. Trust me. This place has gotten a lot better thanks to her." "You're definitely right about that, sir," the 3rd officer agreed before they both did a toast with their soda cups. After returning to the rooftop, the Viper breathed a sigh of relief. It felt good to fight crime. She enjoyed the sense of anonymity that she received from behind the mask. Although the population of Mercury Heights were all aware that the Viper existed, no one knew her real identity. She checked her watch, seeing that the time was 5 a.m. Her parents would wake up in a couple of hours, and she needed to be home and back to normal before then. She decided to do one final lap around the city before going back into hiding for the day. Just when she was about to head back, she heard the loud, unmistakable sound of a store alarm going off, followed shortly afterward by the sound of shattered glass. She looked around and saw the electronics store had been broken into. "Help! Help!" the storekeeper cried desperately. She quickly swung over and flawlessly landed on both feet next to him. "What happened here?" she asked. The shopkeeper pointed at the van that was driving away. "I was about to begin preparations to open the store in a few hours, then 2 thugs forced their way in and stole most of my inventory," he wailed. The Viper looked down the street, seeing the getaway vehicle, then immediately came up with a plan. "Don't worry, I'll be back." she assured before readying her grappling hook and swinging towards the moving van. After a few minutes, she managed to get in close, positioning herself to swing and land directly onto the van's roof. Acting fast, she pulled out her dual pistols and swiftly shot out all 4 tires of the van, making it swerve out of control. The Viper then quickly leapt off the van, playfully striking a pose as the vehicle crashed into a brick wall behind her, exploding into a fireball on impact, killing the 2 robbers instantly. Damn, that's kind of crazy. While the fire department put out the flaming wreckage, the Viper assisted the shopkeeper in recovering his things. "You saved it, all of it, thank you so much," he said cheerfully. "The pleasure is mine," the Viper responded, bowing. "Now if everything else is okay, I must take my leave now. Take care, citizen," she called as she swung away. On her way home, the Viper checked her watch. No more emergency alerts for the time being. The time was now 6 a.m. She smiled. "Perfect. I have just enough time to get back." When she reached her house, the Viper entered her bedroom through her window, used her watch to turn herself back to normal, then jumped into bed and pretended to be asleep. Another successful night, she thought. So that was chapter 1 and 2 of Viper's Bite. It was a little darker than I expected, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, pretty dark subject material, but you know, a lot of good stories have that. So yeah, I kind of like it so far. I'm kind of curious of like what the home life is looking like for Viper here, what her real name is, her secret identity. You know, the dynamics between her and her parents of like, you know, sneaking out and coming back in. If she can pull it off, you know, without being caught at some point. I mean, there's a lot more story to be told here, a lot more chapters. So yeah, if you're looking for more of this, go on Wattpad and read some more of that Viper's Bite. I mean, it's pretty interesting to me. Yeah, I wasn't expecting her to kill the robbers. I mean, it seems a little bit extreme, but I guess that's just the type of story that we're telling. Maybe it's like a Punisher-style story where she just doesn't really give mercy. I mean, I was even scared for the 3 graffiti artists. Like, she's beating the shit out of them, and then like this guy's convulsing on the floor, and I don't know. I think it's an interesting story though. I think it has some decent writing, and yeah, you should check it out. Anyway, that's gonna be it, Kamook heads. I'll see you guys later, and stay scheming or keep dreaming. Thanks for watching.
So I find this law at work. Although I want to do good, evil is right there with me. Romans chapter 7 verse 21.